Welcome back to Game Over Cancer 2025. We've just finished up with a game inspired by Greek mythology. Now, how about one inspired by Japanese mythology? This is Kitsune Tales, a cozy little platformer for 2024. If you're a fan of the old school vibes of Super Mario Bros. 3, then I think you're going to have a good time with this one. debeaunairVT is here to take us on this journey. Debonair, when you're ready to roll out, let's get to it.
Thank you so much, Jamoose. Hello, everybody. My name is debeaunairVT, but you can call me Bo. Usually the VT stands for VTuber, but today it's going to stand for Very Talented because we're going to be playing a game super duper quickly. And with me to help talk through all of the neat tricks and things that we're going to be doing today, I have the ever lovely Rally. Rally, how you doing?
Been fantastic. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to join you on these speedy little adventures.
Of course, of course. I wouldn't have anybody else. So, as Jamoose said, this is going to look very familiar for those of you who have played Mario Brothers games in the past. And the very first thing we're going to do, and I can't tell you why this is this way, but we do it this way, is we're going to set all of these numbers on our magic postcard to 1. The reason we do this is it has some kind of effect on the RNG for a mini game we're going to be playing later. I have not figured out why it does this yet, but we're going to be doing it this way. And you'll notice on this postcard, there's a purple fox. But we're not going to be playing as a purple fox today. We're going to be playing as an orange one. So right after we start, we're going to be switching over to the secondary character for this game, named Kiri. So, well, I guess without further ado, then we're going to go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so right away, as mentioned, this is going to look pretty familiar to any Mario enjoyers. Except for one major difference, which you'll see right away. In Mario, I don't believe he had a sword, but we do have one here. And it's going to get quite a lot of use as the run goes on. So one of the big things with the sword is that it can kill any enemy that's in front of you, including things that you can't normally jump on, like spinies or anything like that. The other big thing that we're going to be doing throughout the early game here is we're going to be doing something called a slope jump. Normally in this section here, this would teach us about all of Kiri's powers, but I've played the game before, so we're just going to skip that for now, and you'll have to take my word for it. We normally wouldn't be doing a ton of running around back and forth because there is a faster way to move. And Rally, if you want to talk about how slope jumping works, I suppose this would be a good time to do so.
The way slope jumping works in this game is anyone who's familiar with kind of like the Mario 3 feel of a game is that there's a hill and you press down, you'll sit on your butt and you'll slide down the hill, and then you kind of retain all that momentum when you shoot off the other end. That works like that in Kitsune Tales as well. The slope jump will let you build up a lot of momentum, and assuming that you don't stay on the ground for too long, you'll retain that velocity, and that will let you kind of catapult through a lot of the levels. And you'll have to kind of know where all the geography is ahead of you and make sure that you know where you're going to land and kind of hope you actually land there. But it is basically building up velocity, retaining it, and just going really fast.
Yeah, it's a really cool technique, and it does get replaced a little bit later on because we are going to get a couple of really sweet movement tech options. But this is basically all of World 1. We're going to be doing these slope jumps. You can see how much faster it is than just standard running. Oop, jumped a little too high there.
Uh-oh.
It does take you a little bit faster than standard running would, even with key speed. So generally, if it's possible, we're going to want to be doing this slope jumping thing. Now, we just, a little bit earlier on, we fought a very angry large red mushroom, and that gave us another special power. This is our first one for the run, and it's kind of the glue that holds the entire kit together, because this character has a lot more going on than a standard platforming character would. The ability that we picked up is called Refresh, and Refresh basically says when you're in the air, you can do all of your abilities as you would expect to, but if you kill an enemy, it refreshes all of your charges. So later on, we're going to get things like a horizontal slash that goes a very long way, or an upward slash that takes you kind of further into the air. And if we are able to tag enemies with those, it will refresh them. It gives us a new jump. It gives us all of those abilities back. So a lot of the run is going to be centered on that in particular. We're going to have all of the relevant abilities by the time we get through halfway into World 5 or so. But prior to that, we're basically going to be utilizing slope jumping, horizontal slashes, and a bunch of other little time-saving techniques like wall jumping to maintain speed and things of that nature.
Yeah, it is worth noting. When you have that little key speed in the upper right, when that's full, you do move faster, and as long as you're in the air, it doesn't decay. So kind of keeping your feet off the ground when you're not running will keep the meter full. So when you land, you can kind of take a full sprint and, shave the frames off.
Yes, and one of the other important things is that sliding gives you a couple of little bars when you do it. So we're going to be sliding at the beginning of a lot of these levels. Just to make sure that we get a little bit further. Oh no, this is fine. This is intentional. Because this is where we talk about the reason we're playing on this difficulty. So the difficulty that we're playing on is, a spring breeze. It's very, very simple. Basically, this means that anytime we would die, we instead are brought back to life on a cloud. And the cloud is an extremely powerful power up in general in the game because it lets you move in any direction. It moves relatively quickly. And in our case, it means that we can go for literally every scary trick, no matter what. And we don't have to worry about dying, really.
Like point in case.
like this, because we can then
Yeah.
just fly up the rest of the hill. We don't have to worry about gaining speed or anything like that. So we're going to use this a couple of times throughout the run. And the general game plan here is going to be just to, for most levels, if we're taking deaths in the middle and we don't need to, we're going to hop right off of the cloud. But we will be using it to clip into walls as well as move upwards quicker than we otherwise would by doing any other method.
Yeah, the game has 3 modes. If you want me to kind of go over the modes real quick to kind
absolutely.
of give it context. There's 3 modes that you could play the game. There's kind of like a challenge difficulty where it works kind of like Mario 3 where you get power-ups, but you can only access them from the world map. And if you die, you go back to the beginning of the screen. There's kind of an intermediate mode for if you want to, kind of give yourself the power-up in the middle of the level, you can do that. And then there is the cloud mode, which is, it's geared for, it kind of makes a challenging game accessible so that, if you're getting frustrated by a part, then if you have it on that mode, you kind of go past it. But for a speedrunner, it does kind of act as a buffer for as Bo mentioned, being able to go for all the really difficult, really precise tricks, and kind of having that assurance that you're not going to get stuck and have to do it over and over again and lose time. You can just kind of turn it on and run it and go big.
Yeah, it's really cool because especially this is my first speed game, and being able to just go for every trick, every run with no negative repercussions is so huge to getting them right. Which is absolutely awesome. So you'll notice that we are currently sliding under the water. We have a Mega Man style slide when we play as Kiri, and for whatever reason, it doesn't really stop you when you go underwater. So you can maintain a lot of speed doing this, and then later when we get our horizontal slash, that also keeps our momentum underwater. So we're either going to be trying to avoid the water as much as we possibly can, or sliding slash side slashing in order to do that. This is Montgomery. I don't know if that's his actual name, but that's what we call him. And we're going to be seeing him twice more throughout this run, and we'll talk about him when we get there. So getting into World 2 here, this is kind of where a lot of the run picks up. We're going to be getting our first power in a little bit. But this is there's not a whole lot happening in these first few stages. So Jamoose, if you have any donations or anything you want to shout out or chat about, now would be a great time.
I do have a question for you, though. Let me get this straight. Correct me if I'm wrong. So Kiri is a messenger in training for Inari. Is that right? Is my mythology correct?
She is one of the messengers. She is an active messenger. Her friend, the purple fox Yuzu, is the one who is kind of in training and kind of just getting her first assignment. And Kiri is very concerned for Yuzu's safety. It's a very the story goes on a lot about that, so it is definitely worth exploring. But Kiri is sort of like, I guess, the more experienced or the more mature of the two.
Now I have a follow-up. If that's the case, what's up with the tiny fox that follows Kiri around? Are they like a sub-intern or like an assistant or something? Or
Well, Kiri is from a royal lineage, so she has little foxes that are kind of like her little lackeys.
Thank you so much for answering that question. I was not able to figure that out. I was genuinely curious.
Yeah. So it is there is a story mode, and the story is voice acted. So
It's also just a very good story in general, and you
Yeah.
should absolutely play through that part of the game for sure.
Yeah.
But yes, so we're about to meet one of the most infuriating enemies in this game, and I refer to them as Potemkin because they are green and they command grab you. So any Guilty Gear players out there, you know what's up. There's also a red one later who always kills me, and I call him FAB. And if you understand that reference, then you definitely play fighting games. But basically, they will jump out of the water at you, and if you run into them, they grab you and they pull you down back to where they came from, which, as you might imagine, becomes a little problematic when there are spikes under the water or lava. So we're not big fans of them. They're not really our friends generally. All right, so this is our first ghost house. There's one of these in each world, and the general gist of them is, you know, they have. I guess this is the second ghost house because we did the one in World 1. This is the first big real one. We got our little tutorial. This is the very first one where we're going to be able to do some kind of very funny trick. And that's what we're doing right now. So, as mentioned previously, when you die with the cloud, it kind of plays with the game's mechanics a little bit. In order to not soft lock you, it tries to just put you on the cloud and put you wherever you want to go, which of course means you can do things like fly up walls from the inside. So it really does take I'm in your walls to a whole new level. But in the case of this stage, that entire level, really cool casually. The whole thing is on a cycle, but the cycle is a little slow for what we need to do for the speed run. So instead, I found this route where you can kind of get crunched into the wall, and then you go from there. We're gonna get our first little boom boom fight here.
That was a really clean line through that room, by the way.
Thank you. It's a fun one for sure. The best way to fight these guys, or so we've found so far, is they will always try to jump towards the corner that you are furthest away from. And it kind of measures that by half screens. So what we want to do when we're fighting those to minimize the time is try to stay on one side. And you can see it with Aaron here a little bit too. But the long and the short of it is we kind of want them to jump the shorter side because it takes less time for them to do so. Which of course means we save time on the fight. So, Rally, do you want to introduce our mentor?
So being, of a royal lineage, Kiri learned her sword training from Aaron, who's her royal sword instructor. And in the story, Kiri kind of gets caught up in a little bit of trouble, and her uncle sends her arms instructor out to kind of apprehend her. So Aaron shows up periodically between all the levels. About halfway through, Kiri has to confront Aaron, and they have a little sword battle. And Aaron is kind of not entirely against you. She's kind of like teaching you moves as she's like quote unquote trying to catch you. So when you fight her, you learn a new move, and that sort of expands Kiri's repertoire. Like Bo has just unlocked a new move, which they can take the floor and explain.
Yeah, so this is one of the big two, as we say, and it is this horizontal slash. Now, the reason this is important is it moves you very far. You're effectively invulnerable while you're doing it, and it kills enemies on the way. So it's really helpful. You can use it in the air to kind of cover a bad jump. You can use it to get over spikes that you're not sure you're going to clear, all kinds of things. And no, I wasn't just saying that because I didn't think I would clear those spikes. Not at all, not even a little bit. But yeah, this is going to be one of the two big ones that we use, and you can kind of see that refresh ability we mentioned earlier come into play here. All of these rejumps are specifically because we're killing bad guys in the air.
Since like 2D Mario games, usually, you had like the leaf that lets you have the raccoon ears that let you fly, or you have the cape that lets you fly. In Kitsune Tales, you can use your sword to fly.
Yes. Well, Kiri can, because Yuzu is still a more familiar, I guess I would say, Mario-like experience, where there are, a bunch of costumes and power-ups and things. But for Kiri specifically, yes. And we will, I promise, be flying on swords later, but you gotta wait until, like, World 5, World 6, until we really get there. But it is something spectacular to behold, for sure. So, a lot of World 2 and a lot of... the early game here is going to be some relatively straightforward stages. There's not really a ton to say or do for these. It's a lot of going to the right, which I'm sure is familiar for people who have played Mario games before. But for us, it's especially true because generally what we want to do... I really thought I was going to touch those spikes.
That was really clean.
Generally what we want to do is go as quickly as we can. And these dogs are really causing me problems today. They're being pains. But yeah, once we get into World 3, we're going to start seeing, the environment's going to change. There's going to be some new mechanics and things to worry about. But for now, we have our first Guardian fight. This fine gentleman is a fine gentleman. Everybody really likes him. He's extremely polite. And I guess this is a good time to talk about what we're trying to do in this game. A person has been taken and put in the elemental jail. That person that we just saw, her name is Akko. And in order to open it, we need to get keystone type things from each of the guardians, and there are 5 of them. So our goal is to somehow get the keys from each guardian. Now, you may think, well, surely if you would tell the guardians that you needed them for this purpose, right? They would probably be like, maybe we can help out. But Kiri...
this is a misunderstanding,
Yeah, Kiri's a little more hot-blooded than that, and kind of more or less demands them, which leads to a lot of fighting, I suppose. Yeah. So we're going to fight everybody in this run. All right,
Well,
this is Montgomery number 1. So this minigame... it obviously is supposed to be the Monty Hall problem, and generally the odds say, for the Monty Hall problem, that if you open a door, it is more likely for you to switch than to stay. Also explaining this melts my brain every time. For whatever reason, when we set all of the magic postcard numbers to 1, the items where the item is always in the same place. So even though for that first one it makes sense to swap, statistically speaking, we will actually want to pick the left door and then pick the left door again. In a later in World 5, we're going to be doing the same thing, but we're going to be picking the left door and then picking the right door. And it's the same kind of thing. It's always in the same place every time. And we really need this for 2 levels in World 5. We need 1 for 5-3, and we need 1 for 5-7. Well, we don't need 1 for 5-7. It's very nice to have 1 for 5-7. So ideally, we get through 5-3 without dying, and we get to keep the second one, which we can use for 5-7, but we'll see about that. But there are some very long levels if you aren't using something that lets you fly in any direction. So obviously, we want to fly in any direction. But yeah, so Monty only shows up twice, and that is kind of the extent of the knowledge that we currently have about how the minigame works. It is in some way influenced by the magic postcard.
There's one little detail I'd like to kind of touch on at that level that you just passed through.
Yeah.
So the way refresh normally works for Kiri is you can use each of your abilities once in the air until you touch the ground or kill something with the sword. And in the water, those rules still apply. So if you're kind of like adrift in the sea, you can use each of your abilities once, unless you can use your sword to slice a fish, and then it refreshes your power. And
Oh no.
when you're kind of deep underwater, the ground can be like very far away, so kind of routing through hazards with your sword becomes very handy to optimizing the run.
Yes. The other thing which we saw already, but haven't really touched on is these cool lanterns. So they, of course, make it so that things that you couldn't see, you can now see. And they also reset ghost aggro, which becomes relevant a couple of times throughout the run. And this is one of them. This is a very long, obviously y'all can watch it and see it. It's a very, very long vertical level, and we basically have to, okay, it's a good thing the dogs were there. We basically have to get all the way to the bottom to pick up a lantern so that we can reveal a door at the very top of this room. And the general idea here is we can't really control the fish. We can take them out, so they don't cause us problems. But the way that we end up dealing with the ghosts is just we have a light. It turns the ghosts off. And obviously we need it to show the door later. So there's a ghost house a little bit later on that plays with this idea a little more and is really cool. But just keep it in mind because lighting is kind of important a little bit in this run. This is our second little mini boss, and they got a new move, which is that jump that we saw second. So they'll start to mix that in now as we go. And this is the second more important ability that we get from Erin. This is the second time we fight her, and in this one we're going to be getting our Shoryuken. The way that we do these fights now that we have the horizontal slash is if you, since it's literally the same move that Erin uses, you can use it to just maintain your spacing and distance from her. So at no point do you ever need to try to hit her while she's doing attacks, and it just makes everything like significantly safer to try and go for. So now we have the vertical slash, and unfortunately you're not going to see it for a little bit because it doesn't actually do any kind of vertical movement underwater, which is really sad.
No, there's some places with hazards on the ceiling where I think it would be preferable that it doesn't.
Oh yes, there are definitely situations, let's say, where being able to hit something directly above you in the water is far, far preferable to whatever is waiting you on the other side. So 3-5 and most of the water stages, you'll see that we're taking a lot of deaths intentionally, and the long and the short here is it's a lot easier to go through the water when you either have fins or are on a cloud. Dying doesn't take a super long time, but obviously if you can keep your fins through an entire level like that, it's going to be a lot faster. We're getting towards the end of this one. There's really not a ton to talk about in 3.6 or 3.7. So if there's anything from the people, Jamoose, if you have anything sitting around that you maybe want to get in there, we can totally have it now. And if not, we can keep yapping. No worries either way.
Funny you mentioned that. I actually have some poetry that's come in from the people. I have 2 donations. I'm going to read out the first one here. First of all, from BD, or the commentary for the previous run for Hades, and I've been requested to do this in a certain voice. I'll do my best Logan Cunningham as I can. So, here goes. Rage. Sing, goddess. Achilles' rage. Black and murderous. That cost the Greeks incalculable pain. Pitched countless souls of heroes into Hades' dark, and left their bodies to rot as feasts for dogs and birds. As Zeus's will was done. Thank you very, very much for your $20.
Heck yeah, GG's
and,
BD.
And $200 USD from Juno, a quote-unquote fantastic fox.
Thank you, Juno. Yeah. Appreciate you as always.
Big thanks.
Awesome. Well, we're about to get into a stage where we're going to play the video game the most that we've played it so far, and it's right past this door. So, anybody that has anything they want to talk about, now's the time. I'm gonna go refill my water real quick. I'll be right back. Oh, I made it. Whew, great. Yeah, that room is very funny. Again, it's one of those auto scrollers. It just you gotta sink down to the bottom of the floor or of the water there, and it's way faster to turn on the old Power Fox and call it a day.
Yeah, that does highlight that like a Mario game, Kitsune Tails has the invincibility star, except instead of just glowing, you turn into a little fox, and you have an air dash.
Yes, the air dash is one of my favorite things in video games. So, all right, so we're into Iceland now. Not Iceland, but the ice world. We're gonna be taking it kind of easy here. There's not really a ton of new special stuff that we have to worry about. A lot of this is going to be more of the same kinds of things that we've already seen, with the exception of the ghost house in this stage. The ghost house in this stage is very cool. So really looking forward to showing that off. Oh, spiny!
Right at the 1 yard line.
It's always one.
I'll stop it here very briefly. I did miss this. We actually just hit $2,000. Our next milestone has been hit. Thank you so very much, everyone.
Let's go.
Yeah, thank you everyone for this is just a wonderful cause to contribute to. So I'm happy to be a small part here with Bo and help put on a good show to help raise donations for
Y'all are awesome. Thank you for the continued support. Obviously, definitely keep the donations coming in. It's all for a good cause after all, folks. Like at the end of the day, especially right now, we got to watch out for each other, So definitely, if you can, please do. And if you can't, we appreciate you being here anyway, spreading it around, letting people know that the stream's happening. You guys are the best. All right, so going into 4-3 here. Now, this is a level that I have been asking anyone, please, to figure out. Because I think the fastest way to do it currently is to actually just do the level as intended. I was doing a little bit of testing on this. And basically, every time I tried to squish myself either into the floor or the ceiling, I was losing time. But like not in a good way where like you can lose it, but then you make a bunch back. In like the really bad way where like you just lose time. It's not good. So as of right now, we're just doing this way because it's like 36 seconds, and that's as good as it can be right now. But if anybody wants to try and figure out if you can break that level, definitely let me know. I would appreciate it. Oh, good dog luck. Let's go. So these dogs function the same way that your overworld fights function in the Mario games. We ideally would like to fight them sooner rather than later, for obvious reasons. It just saves us a little bit of time because they move every time you come out of a level or things like that. So it's definitely preferable for them to just kind of not do any of those things actually. So this level is very cool and has historically been a little bit of a bear for marathon stuff, but as you can see, I can't. The whole left-hand side of the screen is dark, and we just have to use what we see on the right-hand side to get through there. It's a pretty straightforward room, but it definitely messes with your head a little bit. So now we're gonna fight this mini boss and call this one a day.
Shout out to Liz Starr for that level design.
Oh yeah, all the level design. Every level in this game slaps. Liz did a killer job. All right, so you can see with that fight, it's a really good example of how quick it is to get them to kind of jump back to their spot over there instead of going the other way. All right, so this is another Aaron fight. Obviously, the quickest way to do this is to try to kill her without, or to hit her 5 times without getting hit once. And we failed the first part of that, unfortunately. But this is going to give us a dive kick, which is used pretty seldomly, but when it is used, it's very helpful.
Aaron can get a hit in here or there as a treat.
Yeah, I feel like she's put in the time to deserve that. Oh, that's right. There's a secret there. I forgot. Okay. So 4-5 is another underwater level for the most part. So we're going to be kind of just getting through this as best we can with the tools and time that we have. Usually that means we're gonna be dying or damage boosting through these lower eels here. You're supposed to swim like up and around and make sure that you can get through everything, but that takes a lot of time. And as we've said a couple times already, time is not something that we have a lot of. So we really want to shave down any kind of time wasting that we can. So dying, yes, takes a couple seconds for you to come back with a cloud. But those couple seconds are still going to be faster than swimming all the way around. So that's kind of why we make a lot of the intentional death decisions in this run. It basically just puts you further ahead without really hurting your general speed at all. Okay, this is a pretty cool level. Rally, if you would like to explain kind of what our game plan is here while we race our ghost friend.
So normally what you're meant to do in this level is there's 2 ice wall sheets and you're kind of trapped in here with the ghost. But what Bo wants to do is use that kind of getting squished in the wall tech from the ghost house a while back and get ahead of the front ice wall. So it's sort of like if you're in an auto scroller, but the clock is tangible and visible and you can just kind of get ahead of the clock, then you don't have to auto scroll. You can just, GG's.
GG's. Everybody, GG's. It was a good race. It was a good race. He didn't know the shortcut.
Yeah.
Well, what can you do?
Yeah. Happens to the best of us.
But yeah, everything you said is dead on. Doing it that way saves us about 30 seconds, I think, over clearing it the normal way. So we greatly prefer getting squished there.
Oh, I would love to talk about this stage, if I may.
Please do.
So normally in this stage, when you play as Yuzu, it is a it's one of those the star run chains where you have all the item boxes are star power-ups, and you get one, and you have to kind of get the other one and the other one. But what Kiri is able to do, because she can fly, she doesn't need the star power-ups, and she can route through and just kind of on an optimal run, you kind of chain all your hits and you get your air jump refreshes and you go through and you can just do the whole thing without the invincibility. Kiri's fine; she doesn't need it.
Yeah.
But,
She does a lot of neat stuff. I didn't do it a ton of justice there, but that level is very, very cool.
Yeah, there's a achievement you get for doing it without the invincibility.
Yes, and now we're fighting the Ice Guardian, so we need to avoid the candy bacon. I slid a little bit, and I didn't need to. This run, or this fight is very choreographed. Okay, we're only 4 seconds behind. That's not too bad. But yeah, that fight is all of the boss fights really are super scripted. You can kind of do the same thing every time, and it just kind of works, which obviously is very nice for speedruns. But generally, what you want to do there. Oop, that's not who I wanted to hurt. Okay, well we're gonna lose a second or two here, but it does mean that this is gonna be a little bit safer. Yeah. So what we wanted to do there was hug that Tengu. And die on him, but I killed him by accident. My reflexes were to fight the bird. Basically, the idea here, of course, is we're going vertically, so it's going to be faster to be on a cloud going up than it is to try jumping. So for that entire initial section, we really want to aim for that. And 5-1 is, I think, probably the most infamous slope jump in the run. There's not really a tell. The clouds that block out the front of the screen make things pretty difficult to see where you're trying to land and things of that nature. So this one ends up being pretty tough basically all the time. And it's one of the last levels that we actually use that tech in prior to getting probably the coolest ability in the game, Spirit Rush. But this is 5-2 is a really cool level. This one is going to be it's pretty this one is also pretty choreographed, but the idea here is that we want to get key speed because then we can just kind of use refresh to get through the rest of the level without trying. We can just chain these forever which is
Typically,
really,
there's,
really cool.
Yeah, there's a flock of cranes that generally fly across the screen that you have to ride on the back of, but Kiri has a sword, and she's fine.
Yeah,
She's
swords
fine.
swords in this world are extremely good. All right, everybody get ready to say hi to Monty again. This is the second and last time that we will see his silly face for the run, and we have our second cloud, so thank you, Monty. Goodbye.
It's been a pleasure.
And now we're going to do a level fast, which means we're not going to see basically anything in the level, which is kind of unfortunate. This level is really neat playing through casually. That platform that we spawned next to back at the beginning, when you jump on it, it starts to move. And generally the idea is that you're supposed to follow it while dodging enemies and obstacles, and you carry that all the way to the end. But as you might imagine, it goes up and down, and we have to wait for it instead of going quickly. So the cloud kind of lets us move at our own pace. So enjoy this nice panoramic view of the sky.
I think this level is actually a pretty good opportunity to talk about what this route used to be and what the Montgomery tech has enabled you to do.
That's true, yeah. So what we used to do on this stage before we learned about the magic postcard being able to kind of influence what Monty is giving us. I'm taking it safe there. I'm not going right.
That was.
It was dicey. Once we learned that we had tech, we were able to guarantee that we had a cloud. But there was a time in this game's history, in routing it and all of that stuff, where we would actually farm up 999 coins in order to purchase a cloud from the store in town, because that way it would be super duper fast. So we actually had to create separate routing plans just in case we didn't get the cloud, because we're always going to try for the free ones. Oh, I really thought I had blade dash there. That's on me. We needed to build in separate routing. So the routing that we did build in was we had to take a little bit of extra time in a lot of World 3 in order to guarantee basically that we would have enough coins to guarantee then that we got a cloud. We still had 2 chances, but we thought it was random for a really long time. And before we knew that was even a possibility, there was the I don't think we ever did it normally, but we definitely jumped into pits a lot. Like a lot.
Yeah, Mr. Monty Hall, you could say he's the GOAT for saving you all that time.
Oh yeah, he's a fancy fella. I appreciate him immensely. Jump the other way, yes. All right, so this is another relatively normal fight. Obviously, our goal here is just to try to not die and kill him in as few hits as possible, but the floors also fall away. So where we can be and the risks we can take are kind of very different. This is the Aaron fight where we get the really cool ability called Spirit Rush. And this is the one that we're going to use to kind of like break the rest of the levels in the game. And you're going to see it right away because we use it actually in 5.5, which is right after this. So we're going to hope that I hit that trick. But that one's been pretty consistent recently, so even if we get close, I'm happy.
I'm a believer.
So basically, in order to do this, you need to get to key speed, and then you need to press your special action button and hold right, or a direction, I suppose. And then when you release it, you'll do a big dash like this. Oh, just barely didn't get it. That's okay, though. So, in the same way that you can do a slope jump to give yourself a ton of extra speed and momentum, you can do the same thing with Spirit Rush. If you cancel it by swinging your sword again after it has already started, you can prevent yourself from doing the sheathing animation at the end and losing all of your speed. So what that generally lets us do is we can use that to kind of launch ourselves basically in any direction. So here we're going to shoot down into the water, and you can see like we maintain a ton of momentum even though we're swimming, and you would expect kind of like a Shine Spark from Metroid. Yeah, exactly, Mittensy. It's pretty similar, but we can't carry it with us really. We have to, in the same way that slope jumping works, what we need to do is we need to basically not be on the ground at all. So instead of being able to run like you would be able to with a Metroid Shine Spark, for this you kind of have to remain in the air and jump in order to reset your momentum and things like this. So it's extremely helpful. It's generally like it's used in basically every level going into World 6, including a couple of the ones that have extremely tight what's the word, execution. So it gets a lot of use. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like the capstone of Kiri's abilities that you learn, and it's kind of the biggest and the flashiest one that she has.
Yeah, it's also the most fun, which is definitely helpful. So this 5-7 is a big tower. That's all there is to it. It's you generally would have to platform all your way the entire way up here, and Kiri can do this in a rather unique way because of course we have access to the Shoryuken slash, and we also have access to reset. So you can jump up and kill a bunch of enemies on the way to the top of the tower, but taking a cloud is really easy too.
Yeah, the manual way does feel really good when you're hitting all the refreshes. Oh, I don't want to interrupt this.
Oh yeah, so this is called the bow skip. Good fight. I discovered this particular quick kill in my casual playthrough. I really just wanted to press anti-air on that guy. So I just kept running at him, and eventually we found out that you can hit him as he falls. He doesn't ignore the death plane for whatever reason. So he reaches the bottom, and then he dies. So you can get that one super duper quickly. I didn't name that either, which is extra fun knowledge. Somebody else did. But
GG's.
yeah, GG's. That fight is tough. I'm kind of bummed that we didn't get the second SRC in here, but we did get the first one, so I suppose that's okay. Yeah, so basically a lot of World 6, and you know this is the last world in the game before we reach the final boss. A lot of this world is going to be using SRCs to cover a ton of horizontal space as quickly as possible. This stage is pretty neat though. This is a this is your classic rising and falling water level stage from your Marios, and for us, we can actually clear it in just the one cycle, which is extremely tight, but man, does it look good when you do it right. Woo, baby.
That was clean.
Thank you. Good 6-2. Love to see that. 6-3 is another one where your opening is kind of everything. We need to do a Spirit Rush cancel basically right away. We have to do it here. And then there is a second one that we will need to do, which will happen here. Excellent. You'll love to see it.
Nice.
I'm going to go for the third one too. I'm just not as confident with that one. I've been kind of avoiding it, but I think we got to try to do it. I don't have I don't have key speed, so that's gonna make that a little bit difficult. Yeah, I needed it to start a little bit earlier. That's okay though. Still saved a ton of time over just doing that regularly. Sub 40. Yeah, nice, cool, good 6-3. 6-4 is probably my favorite stage in the game to run right now. Oh, sorry, dogs first. We're gonna take. Hello. Oh, I tried to crouch to hide from the arrow. Yeah, it's a hill. 6-4 is probably one of my favorite stages to execute in the game. It just requires really good platforming, and it looks really cool when it's done right. So I'm hoping that we do.
Gonna let you run it and just let the movement do the talking.
Let's go. Whew, such a cool level. It's so cool. All right, this is our last mini boss fight, interestingly, and you'll notice that the mini boss has a friend. We do not like this friend very much because this friend throws flaming skulls at us, and while some people may consider that a bonus, it does make fighting the mini boss very difficult. So we like to remove it as quickly as possible.
Yeah. I guess mini boss gets a hit as well as a treat.
Yeah, as a treat, a little treat, of course.
Yeah. Just they've done well this run.
And this is the last time we will be fighting Aaron in the run. We don't get any new abilities from this one. This is kind of just like the test your abilities kind of mentor fight that you would get in your general like novels and stories and such.
Yeah. Kiri has equaled her instructor, so you're fighting with the same set of tools.
All right, and we are we're now into, I think, probably the most difficult pair of SRCs in the game. So I don't really want to talk too much, but if you want to talk about kind of, you know, how the second half of the game goes and all of that stuff, or how the first half rather goes, the Yuzu half, that would be
the purple fox.
The purple fox, yeah.
So the way kind of Kitsune Tales is kind of set up is you play through it once as, you know, there's a story and you see the story from Yuzu's perspective, and she plays a lot more like traditional Mario. You know, you have different themed power-ups and you have different abilities, and you kind of go through the levels, and as you're playing, you learn the layout. Like if it's your first time, you wouldn't like know how they work, so Yuzu's kind of teaching you how to drive, and then when you get to the end of the story, you get to see the events of the story from Kiri's perspective. So it's kind of like a bit of a Rashomon kind of duality to the narratives and like how things are different. But now that you know the levels and now that you know how to drive, Kiri pulls up in a hot rod and says, "Hey, you want to go fast?"
And boy do I. Yeah, the Yuzu half of the game is super awesome. Definitely, I mean, obviously I recommend playing the whole thing, but this is the movement tech in half 2 is super duper cool. So we are going to show you all a secret here. Well, it's 2 secrets, I suppose. The first secret is you don't have to do this level the way that they intended. Sorry, Liz. The second secret is that there's an exit here that we know about that is much faster than finishing the level in its entirety. So we're gonna take it. And there's FAB.
No Heavenly.
Nope. He was kind to me today. I got taken out by Chips Enough instead.
Yeah, you got chips.
I did. So in this stage, normally you're supposed to follow that platform all the way through, but there's this neat little pipe on the bottom here that isn't blocked, and if you happen to find your way in, it takes you right to the end of the level. Interesting.
Look at that.
Interesting. All right, so we are now on to the Fire Guardian, and then we will be heading into the last boss of the game. So this level is nice and short and sweet.
Yeah, this is you fought a lot of bosses in kind of one-on-one combat, but now you get to kind of like Fire World, and the fire boss is hey, why don't you fight my whole army? So instead of being like another boss fight, it's kind of like a super condensed like what do you call it? Like a big you run through the army camp, and then you get to Nobunyaga at the end.
Yeah, a gauntlet, if you will.
Yeah, a gauntlet. That's the word. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so this is the last boss of the game. It says Oni, but it means mushroom. We are basically going to be hitting the boss's little orb weak spot there 4 times with Yuzu, and then we need to hit it 3 times with Kiri. It normally takes just over a minute, so we are actually on world record pace right now, which is pretty cool.
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
Current record is 48:33, which I got at the last event, I think. So that would be pretty cool if this one also got world record. That would be pretty sweet. But basically, as long as we don't mess this up, we should be clearing it in like just over 48 minutes, which will be very, very cool. And the first half here, there are ways that you can get this to go a little bit quicker, but because we don't have any of we didn't play the game as Yuzu, we don't have any of the items that you would normally have with her or anything like that, so we can't really cheat it too much. Kiri, on the other hand,
She's fine. She's fine.
All right, one more, and then we're gonna be mashing. Oh,
Oh,
the rock,
no.
the assassin rock. Okay, we got it anyway though. All right, I need everybody to chant in chat. Talk faster. We need the
fast,
we
talk
need
fast.
we need these three lovely ladies to talk fast, and it looks like we're gonna get it. We're gonna get world record again, which is super cool.
Yeah, time is going to be coming up very shortly.
Yep.
Once the purple fox jumps on top of the red mushroom, that will be time.
And
And
time.
time.
48-14. GG's, everybody. We did it.
Let's go. Is that world record?
Yes, by like 20 seconds. Pretty
That's real
sweet.
clean.
Pretty
That's
sweet.
real clean.
Thank you, chat.
GGs.
You guys powered it up. I can't take all the credit there. We couldn't have done it without you. Yeah, great, awesome. So we are kind of at we're at the end of the game. So I guess we can do well first. Chat, I need you to get ready. There's an important moment coming up. I need you all to type "Let's go lesbians," but don't press enter yet. All right? I
Yep.
need you to wait. You will know when to do it. You will know.
Hold.
Let's go lesbians!
Go lesbians!
Woo! And then it'll pan up to the chat room on the roof. There you are. We did it,
Let's go.
everybody! Awesome stuff.
GGs.
Well, I suppose now is as good a time as any for shout outs and such. So, from my end, shout outs to the Rowdy Boys, obviously, the Fab Glitter Avengers, and everyone in LAG. I appreciate you all coming out, hanging out. Obviously, everyone who donated, you guys are the goats. You're the best. We literally do this for this purpose. So it's super cool to have everybody come through and donate to a really good cause. Anything from you, Rally?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to, Eniko, Liz, Shoehead, all the team that kind of worked on this game. Give a shout out to friends out in the garden. Thanks for always kind of popping through, and just everyone else who might be checking in. It's a privilege to be able to come on here and join you in kind of just sharing your speed running and bringing that time down again and again, and kind of like hitting these world records. Always a pleasure, always an honor to see you kind of grow your speed running passion. So I want to give you a shout out as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. It wouldn't be the same without you, truly. So I appreciate you being here. All right. Well, as far as my stuff goes, you can find me a couple of nights a week on twitch.tv/debeaunairVT. We do a couple nights of Savage rating in Final Fantasy XIV, and then we do some variety stuff. Sometimes it's speedrunning. We've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter recently. There's going to be some new speed games in the future, and we're looking at randomizers potentially. Ooh, fancy. So definitely come through. Same handle over on Blue Sky, debeaunairVT there too. Rally, how about you? Anything specific you want to shout out?
Yeah, I guess if you want to catch any of what I do, all the stuff that I'm involved with is all on luckyraven.cc. I'm rally.luckyraven.cc on Blue Sky. Come say hi, hello. Just always nice to share what we do and get to meet people.
For sure. All right. Well, the next run will be upon us shortly. Until then, chat, remember to be kind to yourselves and love one another. Thank you guys so much. Have a nice rest of the marathon.